Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, well, welcome to the Shitlist. I'm Liz.
And I'm Vienne, and this is going to be your favorite healthy venting podcast.
Hopefully.
Most likely.
Hopefully.
Today we're going to be talking about our worst customer service experiences in the food industry.
I have a lot.
I used to work at McAllister's Deli, and Liz currently works at Starbucks.
Please don't fire me, Starbucks, if you hear this. Daddy, Starbucks, I need bills to be paid every month.
But as most of you probably know, in this food service industry, there are lots of people who just treat you like...
They all suck.
Yeah, they treat you like shit. Which is why they've ended up on today's shit list.
Yes. So do you want to go first? Because, I'm still in it. So
Sure,
I got a whole thing ready to go.
Yeah, I don't work at McAllister's anymore for good reason. I think my worst customer experience is at McAllister's. People would come in for the loaded baked potatoes, but we called them spuds.
Okay.
So when I refer to them as spuds, that means baked potato.
I've never been, so thank you for clarifying.
You're welcome. So people would call in on like a Thursday night, which I don't know if you know McAllister's, but Thursday nights and Sunday mornings tend to be our busiest. And people would call in for the spuds. Now we can only make 100 at a time because the ovens weren't big enough to make more than that. And they take about 3 hours to prep because you have to wash the potatoes and then you have
How big are they?
to bake them. Oh my God, they're the size of your face.
Okay.
They're huge.
So you can make like 100 at a time?
Yeah, they're monstrous baked potatoes.
Okay.
But they take forever to cook in the oven because we have to slow bake them, and then, we cut them open, put all the toppings on, yada, yada. So people would call in at 7:30 or 8 p.m., which is an hour before we close, to order a bunch of potatoes. And we would have to tell them, I'm sorry, we don't have any more potatoes. And one time, one person cursed me out on the phone because we didn't have any potatoes. And I was like, I'm sorry, do you want me to pull them out of my ass? I did not say that. But she was very, very upset. And I was like, well, could you maybe call like an hour beforehand if you're ordering on the phone, and I can hold potatoes for you. Like, if you call early,
That's a treat.
I'll set them aside for you because if you want them that bad. Because she literally was like, this is the only thing I've ever wanted.
Oh, God.
She was having her moment.
Her Karen moment.
Her Karen moment. And I was like, if you call early, I will set them aside for you. And she said, no, fuck you. I want my potatoes to be ready when I come in. I'm at work. And I was like, oh my God. Okay, calm down. And that same day, someone actually threw a potato at me because we swapped orders on accident with him and somebody else in the dining room. We didn't mean to, but like their potatoes got swapped. And the first person brought it up and was like, hey, I think I got the wrong order. Could you like check on this for me? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. And then 5 seconds later, not even 5 seconds later, a woman who was on like, it was the end of her day. Mm-hmm. She probably had the shittiest day of her life, but she made mine shittier because she walked up and she was like, what the fuck is this? I've had so many problems with this McAllister's before, and I'm done. I want a full refund. I was like, ma'am, I can give you a refund. Just give me one moment. She goes, no, I want to talk to your manager right now. I'm like, our manager is not here. I'm it. So you can talk to me or you can talk to, like, the line cook in the back, and I don't think you want to talk to him because
nobody ever wants to talk to the line cook. I don't. Not when I worked at Smoky Bones. Actually, one of them was in love with me, so he was fine. But that's another story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, she picked up the potato. She was so mad, and I was doing my best, but like, she was at her wit's end.
How old were you?
Oh my! I was 18.
You were 18.
I was 18.
Okay.
And she picked up this potato. It's, like, covered in sour cream and, like, bacon and cheese. And she just chucked it at me.
It hit you?
Yeah. So I was covered in potato. I mean, our line cook came out from the back and was like, you need to get out. You need to fucking go right now. But that was my wit's end. That was probably one of the worst situations I had.
I probably would have swung and lost my job. I don't know.
I was that close, man.
I just don't understand people who can just lose their cool like that, especially when it's like, it wasn't even your fault. Mm-hmm. And it was just an error. Like, it's just, I feel people forget that, like, we're people too.
Yeah, it's like they see us as a means to an end.
Yeah.
Like, we're just in the way of them getting what they want.
Yeah. Starbucks.
Oh, God.
Please. I love working at Starbucks. Please don't get that twisted. I love all my coworkers. I love working there. It's literally the best job I've ever had. That being said, sometimes these customers, they're on crack. Like, Because it's just like, the things they do. This one time, I swear to you, this lady was gonna hop out of her car and swing at me, like, through the window.
You can't blame her. She hadn't had her morning coffee yet.
Obviously.
Millennials.
Because, like, she paid with cash, and she owed, like, I think it was, like, $8.97. I, like, remember this so specifically because whenever someone comes to the drive-thru window, before they pay, I tell them exactly how much their order is, so, like, there's no confusion. She gives me, like, the money, and I give her a change back, and she stares at me, and she's like, why'd you give me 3 cents? And I was like, and she said it with a huge attitude, and I was like, because this is the amount of money you gave me. She's like, why didn't you ask me for the 3 cents? And I was about done that morning. I said, why'd you not hand me the 3 cents when I told you how much you were paying? And she just stared at me, and I stared at her because, like, why do you look like you're about to beat my ass over 3 cents? Like, do you need those?
She hasn't had her morning coffee.
Do you need
yet.
those 3 pennies? Like, do you want that full dollar bill so badly? 3 pennies is just gonna ruin your effing day.
She's just not her without caffeine.
Yeah. Another thing, I cannot stand the people that do not know how to pronounce the drinks after we've corrected them.
Oh my god.
Like, at least I don't do it in, like, a really rude way. I'll just, like, they'll say, can I have a caramel, like, Mackay? And I'm like, oh yeah, I can get you a caramel macchiato. And they'll just, like, keep saying it wrong. Okay. Or, like, can I get a strawberry acai? Ooh.
I had the same issue at McAllister's because we had the Chipotle chicken sandwiches. The amount of people, Chipotle. It's like, it's the same as the restaurant. You know Chipotle, the restaurant. You know Chipotle, the pepper. Why are you, Chipotle? What is that?
I do it as a joke sometimes, but not when I'm ordering food.
I mean, I say that with, like, quesadilla. But, like, that's a joke. Like, I know how to pronounce quesadilla.
Target.
Well, I don't think Chipotle sounds fancier than Chipotle.
No, it doesn't. But yeah, I think that's or like when people are like getting mobile orders and they're just standing there and then they stop me from what I'm doing, which slows me down. And they're like, I don't see my drink. And I'll be like, oh, what's your name and what'd you get? And I'll look in the system and, we have to mark it to say that we've made it. And so I'll look and it'll be right in front of them. It's like, do you not know your own name? Do you not know how to read your own name? Do you not know how to... I don't know.
To be fair, though, Starbucks does often give people the wrong name.
That's true. But listen, maybe it's just me. I'm one of those baristas that always ask, like, hey, what's your name and how do you spell it? Especially when their name's like Caitlin. Do you know how many versions of Caitlin there are out there?
I'm sure a lot. Like Michaela?
Yeah. And, like, so many people like to order recently, like, venti iced or like hot white mocha. So like of course like 13 Caitlins that morning. What a white mocha. So
oh my god.
Let's see what else. Oh, do you want to hear this crazy thing that happened?
Yeah.
Okay, it was last week. And I don't know, lately Peak has just been getting under my skin just because like a lot of these customers are so entitled and it just they just speak down to me and I hate that because I'm an adult, I'm a grown woman, like I just happen to work at Starbucks. Anyway, this man comes up to me and he puts his drink down and he's like, I ordered a caramel matcha. I looked at the drink. It's green. There's matcha in it. And I was like, sir, that is a caramel matcha. And he's like, no, it's supposed to be beige or like a brown. I was like, oh, you mean the caramel macchiato? He's like, no, caramel matcha. And I'm like, oh no.
Oh my God, sir, matcha is green.
And I explained that to him.
And it tastes like dirt.
It does taste... I'm not a fan of it. If you ever order a matcha, get some like brown sugar syrup in it and tastes better with their raspberry. But anyway, that's just a suggestion. Anywho, he keeps arguing with me that I apparently don't know what I'm talking about. That I don't know the drinks at the store that I've been working for since July. And I keep going back and forth with him for 5 minutes because it's like, sir, that's what you got. A caramel matcha. It's right in front of you. And he's like, no, it's beige. I'm like, okay, sir, then you want the caramel macchiato. Like, I keep trying to explain, like, it's a caramel macchiato. I'm doing it in a nice way. And he's just getting fed up with me. I'm like, okay, sir, there's 2 options. You either take the drink that you have, a caramel matcha, which you ordered, which you want, or I can get you the caramel macchiato for free, like, do a recovery, and you can get the drink that I think you're asking for. And he's like, I suppose. Like, excuse me?
And were you right?
Yeah, I was right. I was, because I know my drinks at Starbucks.
It's the grown men that be bitching the most.
It is.
Oh my gosh. So one of my worst breakdowns at McAllister's, this was like about a week before I quit my old McAllister's before I moved to the new one. And I worked at 2 McAllister's, disclaimer. The first one was really, really shitty. The second one wasn't as bad. But the first one...
Was the first one here or in your hometown?
At my hometown.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So I was the only person there besides one cook and our manager, who was also in the back cooking because we didn't have enough people. We had DoorDash orders, Grubhub, and Uber Eats.
Yo, my Starbucks is about to get DoorDash, and I'm gonna be crying in the back, by the way.
Oh my god, third-party orders, like, usually the drivers are so nice, but it just adds, like, 10 times the extra work on us, and we have to do things on time and triple check everything, and it was too much. So we were doing that, and it was the Thursday night. So we had a line.
Thursday night.
They're all Thursday night, man.
Woo!
We had a line out the door. I mean, out the door, around the corner. People wanted their fucking Reubens. Like, they were on their sandwich moment. They just needed one, and they wanted sweet tea.
Oh, not the sweet tea.
McAllister's sweet tea is very infamous. People really love the sweet tea. Sometimes people literally just come in for sweet tea. Because we make it really good. I mean, we put like 4 pounds of sugar in there, and they're like giant, like 7-gallon urns.
Tastes like diabetes. I can say that, by the way. I have type 1. Before y'all want to cancel me, I have type 1 diabetes. I can say stuff like this. Sorry.
Anyway.
Sorry. I'm so sorry. You know I always gotta get that diabetes joke in there.
So I'm 16 at the time.
Okay, so This is new. You're new.
I'm a child.
Literal child.
I'm running the front. I'm bussing. I'm cleaning, and I'm also the only one on dish pit at the end of the night. And there's nobody who's been on dish pit at the end of the night, or all day. So I have a day's worth of dishes to do. There's a line out the door. Things need to be clean. Everything's in disarray. We have Uber Eats orders. I'm taking orders. I'm getting drinks. When I tell you, I was literally the only person running the store. I was the only person running the store. Because our manager couldn't help me because he was in the back cooking, trying to keep up with the mobile orders and with all of the in-store orders.
I would have literally thrown up.
So this was my mental breakdown. This is the first time I ever cried in front of customers. Ooh. So this woman comes in, and we're out of tea. And so I run behind me. I'm like, give me 1 moment, please. And I start to run the tea urns so I can make more tea. And I put the sugar in the bottom, and I turn it on, and I come back to take her order. I take this woman's order. Another woman comes up, and I'm just talking to her. I'm trying to, like, you know, basic customer service, have a good conversation with her, and I'm getting her order done really fast, and then she looks at me, and she goes, "Ma'am, behind you." That's how she said it. And I said, "I'm sorry," and she just points, and I turn around, and there are no nozzles on the tea urns. So
yeah, I would have really thrown up then and there.
And the thing is, our tea urns were broken, so the emergency stop doesn't work.
That's wonderful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow.
So I couldn't stop. So 7 gallons of sweet tea are getting poured all over the counters and onto the floors, and it's just going everywhere, and it's sticky and messy, and I just start crying. I am bawling because this is so much for me to do, and like my manager runs out, and we both are just staring at each other because there's tea pouring onto the floor, and nobody can do anything about it because
it's over.
We literally have to wait till it's over because we can't turn it off. And I look back at the woman, and she looks at me, and she goes, "I need 2 gallons of sweet tea." That was it. That was my 13th reason. I was done in that moment right there.
I think I would have quit and flicked her off.
That was a week before I quit. That was like one of the last straws.
I would have literally flicked her off and got fired.
It was awful.
No, that's happened to me, but not 7 gallons. Just like whatever amount of like Pike's Place was in there, and like the customer like didn't say anything until after I took their order, which pissed me off.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, they're like, "Oh, also your coffee's spilling," and I'm like, I turn around. I'm like,
also.
I'm like, you could have said that like the moment, like why? And then of course like the coffee got everywhere on the ground, underneath like the grind. It was everywhere.
My God.
No, it's better than when I would rather have coffee like flood Starbucks than have the sweet cream get spilled. So that thing goes everywhere, and it's sticky and gross.
Yep, that's how the sweet tea is. It was like our shoes were
to
the floor the whole rest of the night, and I had to mop the whole thing, and it was everywhere. There was so much tea everywhere.
Yeah.
And I came home smelling like sweet tea, but like sticky and gross. Oh God, I took an hour-long shower. It was that was the worst night.
Yeah, but don't worry, guys. There are some good customers out there.
There are. Do you want to share?
I'm gonna tell you about Tom.
Yeah.
So see, I love this man. He's this older gentleman that comes in every morning to Starbucks. He has his little like coffee like mug, or what is it?
Like a little
traveler's mug. Yeah. And he always gets a pike with a little bit of cream. It has to be very little. And he's so sweet. And he always has his newspaper, and he's there like every morning. Aww. And he loves going to the opera. Ooh, that's one of his favorite things. Aww. He goes or did go with his wife. I don't know. He hasn't really gone because of COVID. I get it.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's just lived a crazy life. Not crazy, but it's just so fascinating, all the adventures he's been on. And he was talking to me about, like, film and stuff, because he asked me, like, what I do. I love Tom. Tom is an angel, and if he ever hears this, which he probably won't, I love you. I love you, Tom, so much.
So my favorite group of customers that we ever had were the knitting ladies.
Ooh.
There were, like, 7 or 8 of them at a time, and they would come in on a Tuesday. And usually they would come in during dinner rush, but they were so kind and always so patient. And I worked really, really hard to make sure all of their orders were correct because they were just the sweetest people. They were the only ones who bothered to know me by name. And they came in every Tuesday, and they would bring all their little knitting projects, and they'd show me what they were doing. And one time one of them was like, I'll knit you a sweater. And it was the sweetest thing ever. And when I told them I was leaving to go to college and I was like quitting the McAllisters and it was one of my last days, they all banded together and gave me a $50 tip. And if you don't know, McAllister's is a non-tipping establishment, so people aren't supposed to tip, and, like, they can't tip on the end of their checks. So, like, if we do get money, it's, like, maybe a stray $1 or $2 that someone leaves on the table when we're busing. So this meant a lot to me. It was, like, a really big deal, and they all gave me a hug, and, like, I actually really miss them. They were one of those people, the groups of people that make it seem like worth it to work in the service industry.
Yeah, there's other Starbucks customers I know by name that like literally make my day all the time. But Tom just holds a special place in my heart. He does with everybody there. So like, yeah, Tom, if you ever hear this, we love you at the Starbucks where I work.
Moral of the story is please be nice to food service workers. Because they're just doing their best, and they're making more than likely less than minimum wage half the time, or they don't get tipped, and they're feeding you, like they're getting you your food, and they're doing their best. So just treat them like people, because you know they're out here doing the Lord's work.
No, for real, especially during the morning at Starbucks. Yeah. Sometimes I don't have my caffeine either, guys, but I keep going. But anyway, I hope you liked the first episode of the Shitlist. It wasn't too bad.
No, it wasn't. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, for real. Leave us likes, comments, suggestions.
Tell us what you want to hear from us next on the Shitlist.
Yeah, for real.
And we'll see you next time.
All right, bye, guys.
Bye.